Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web.
Vaccine Czar and National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. has quelled public concern that around 2 million Astrazeneca vaccines might expire before they could get used in the government's mass inoculation program against the coronavirus disease. According to Galvez, when they computed the daily output they have, it shows that they can easily manage the Astrazeneca vaccines. By June 15, they are expecting to finish all of it. There have been reports that the country has in its inventory would expire soon, triggering fears of massive wastage of the precious commodity. Galvez confirmed that two vaccines, AstraZeneca and the Russian-made Sputnik V, have relatively short shelf life. He said the AstraZeneca vaccines on hand have two expiration dates. One batch of almost 1.5 million jobs will expire on June 30, while another batch of 525,600 doses will expire sometime in July. As for the country's daily capacity for inoculations against dreaded COVID-19, Galvez said it is going to increase over the next few days, considering we are increasing our capacity and we are activating more vaccination sites. Meanwhile, a huge batch of Pfizer vaccines, over 2 million, is coming to the Philippines later this month.
Department of Agriculture Secretary William Dar bared that they are looking to release the suggested retail price or SRP for imported pork within the week. In a virtual press briefing on Wednesday, May 12, Dar said that the agency is currently finalizing the proposed price tag on the commodity. Executive Order 128 reduces tariff rates on pork imports to between 5% and 20%, down from 30% to 40%. The Agriculture Secretary further said that they will only import pork from countries without African swine fever or ASF. In a bid to prevent the entry of ASF-infected imported pork and other pork products, Dar said he immediately banned products from countries that are affected by the dreaded animal disease. Intensified first border inspection and random testing on pork products will also be conducted to protect the country and the consumers from ASF. The Department of Agriculture decided on April 7 not to extend the 60-day price ceiling on pork and chicken products in Metro Manila, but said that an SRP for imported pork will be imposed.
President Rodrigo Duterte on Thursday joined the Filipino Muslim community in observance of Eid'l Fitr, or the period marking the end of Ramadan, calling the religious event a personal sacrifice and unity. Duterte may be referring to the increased delivery of COVID-19 vaccines in the country to inoculate the majority of citizenry, including those in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. In his message, the president also expressed hope that the event could inspire us to continue promoting peace, unity, and goodwill among our fellow Filipinos. Earlier, Vice President Robredo also sent her greetings to the Muslim community here and around the world, noting that celebration serves as a reminder that we are a community not just through proximity, but through the numerous acts of solidarity, kindness, justice, and collective resolve that we practice every day. This is the second year that observance of Eid'l Fitr and other religious events and other forms of gathering are being held under the guidance of strict health protocols to prevent the spread of the pandemic.
Dagupan City in Pangasinan recorded the country's highest heat index so far in 2021 at 52 degrees Celsius on Wednesday afternoon, May 12. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration recorded the 52 degrees Celsius heat index at around 2 p.m., which surpassed the 51 degrees Celsius heat index that was registered also in Dagupan City on May 8. Pagasa monitored dangerous heat index values in various areas in the country on Wednesday. A heat index between 41 degrees Celsius and 54 degrees Celsius is under what the Pagasa considers as danger level due to the high likelihood of heat cramps and heat exhaustion. Pagasa attributed the warm and humid weather conditions to the prevalence of the easterlies over Luzon and Visayas. Meanwhile, Crising has intensified into a tropical storm at about 8 a.m., threatening the areas of Davao Oriental and Surigao del Sur. Pagasa estimated the location of Crising at 330 kilometers east of Davao at 10 a.m. The tropical storm packed a maximum sustained winds of 65 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 80 kilometers per hour while moving west-northwestward at 10 kilometers per hour. Based on the forecast track, Crising is seen to make landfall over Davao Oriental Surigao del Sur area between Thursday night and Friday morning.
Here is a roundup of news in and around Metro Manila. Let's watch this.
Thousands of people were apprehended and fined by the personnel of the Quezon City government and police on Wednesday for violating health and safety measures, including those who were not wearing face shields and those who supposedly took off their masks to wipe sweat from their face. Around 3,200 individuals were already brought to the Quezon City Memorial Circle after authorities launched a one-time big-time operation against violators which started around 8 a.m. of May 12. They were issued ordinance violation receipt or OVR worth 300 pesos. A day before the operation, at least 1.2 million face masks and 300 face shields were already distributed to indigent residents. Mayor Joy Belmonte recently expressed concern over the large number of health protocol violators. Belmonte assured the public that the city authorities would exercise a maximum tolerance in enforcing the law and only those who resist, defy, or assault enforcers will be detained. A total of 33,578 individuals have been vaccinated in Las Piñas City, according to Mayor Imelda Aguilar. The city has 10 vaccination sites that can vaccinate around 300 individuals per day, according to Aguilar. Meanwhile, the city government reported apprehension of 720 people for not wearing face masks and face shields. The violators were brought to the covered court in concerned barangays, where they were given a 1-hour lecture on their violation before their release. In the aim to support Manila students engaged in blended distance learning, Chinese ambassadors Huang Xilian turned over 1,000 tablets to the city government on Wednesday, May 12. In an online handover ceremony, Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno de Magoso received the tablets from Huang, who looks to aid in the implementation of the blended distance learning modality in Manila amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Ambassador Huang said this batch of tablets is part of the distance education equipment supporting program initiated by China's embassy to help the students in the Philippines to overcome difficulties and to get better access to distance learning resources amid the pandemic. Dumagoso expressed appreciation for the donation, saying that these tablets will be distributed soon to students and families in need.
Now let's take a look at the latest news in other parts of the country, and here are the details.
The Department of Health in Bicol said that an additional 62,640 doses of Astrazeneca and Sinovac vaccines arrived on Wednesday at the Legazpi Domestic Airport in Legazpi City. The new delivery is intended for the second jabs of medical frontliners and the first dose of senior citizens. The region is expecting more vaccines to arrive in the coming weeks as they hope to fast-track the inoculation against COVID-19 upon its delivery to Bicol. As of the latest count, the region has administered 62,153 doses, of which 54,630 were received as the first dose for priority individuals, while 7,523 were for the second dose of frontline health workers, senior citizens, and uniformed personnel. The Department of Education in Central Visayas has recommended to the Central Office in Pasig City to allow the holding of limited face-to-face classes in Region 7. 50 schools in Central Visayas have been identified as pilot areas for limited face-to-face classes in the upcoming school year. Some schools in Negros Oriental, Bohol, and Siquijor were also given the go signal to hold limited face-to-face classes. However, it remains uncertain when will be the start of classes this year. A beach resort in the island garden city of Samal in Davao del Norte drew flack on social media for making homophobic remarks that it would no longer accommodate transgender guests. In a statement on Wednesday, the management of Isla Reta Beach Resort said members of the third sex are no longer welcome to visit the White Sand Beach Resort because it lacks facilities to cater for them. This came after a transgender complained of being subject to discrimination and ridicule by the management and staff of the resort that refused her to use the shower area for female guests. In a separate social media post, the beach resort clarified in a statement that the resort currently doesn't have facility to cater to transgender individuals, which is why they issued such a statement. The beach resort further added that the said Facebook post is only intended for transgender individuals who wish to have a separate facility or who will demand to use the female shower rooms.
And the updates from around the world. Let's take a look at these reports.
India's coronavirus death toll passed 250,000 on Wednesday as the World Health Organization said the variant fueling the surge had been found in dozens of countries across the globe. Another 4,205 deaths were on Wednesday confirmed over the previous 24 hours, a national record, taking total fatalities to 254,197. But many experts believe that official numbers of people dying in India, which is one of the world's most poorly funded healthcare systems, are an underestimate. Across India, overwhelmed hospitals have been unable to treat people, and there have been too many bodies for crematoriums to deal with, and many COVID-19 deaths are not properly recorded as such. Huge political rallies and religious events that attracted millions of people over recent months are two key factors being blamed for India's crisis. Sinovac BioNTech Limited vaccine is wiping out COVID-19 among health workers in India, an encouraging sign for dozens of developing countries reliant on the controversial Chinese shot, which performed far worse than Western vaccines in clinical trials. Indonesia tracked 128,290 health workers in capital city Jakarta from January to March and found that the vaccine protected 98% of them from death and 96% from hospitalization as soon as 7 days after the second dose, according to Health Ministry official who oversaw the study. The data adds to sign out Brazil that the Sinovac shot is more effective, that improved in testing phase, which was beset by divergent efficacy rates and questions over data transparency. A spokesman for Sinovac in Beijing said the company cannot comment on the Indonesian study until it acquires more details. In the Tel Aviv suburb of Givatayim, shell-shocked residents were assessing the damage Wednesday after a rocket shattered their district's leafy calm for the first time in its history. Palestinian militants in Gaza have fired more than 1,000 rockets toward Israel since Monday evening, according to Israeli army. Hamas, the Islamist group that controls the coastal territory, says it fired hundreds towards Israel's commercial capital and tourist hub Tel Aviv on Tuesday night in response to Israel airstrikes on Gaza. Many were blown out of the sky by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. Tel Aviv, 70 kilometers from Gaza City, had been largely spared by the brunt of rockets fired by Palestinian militants in the territory under Israeli blockade for 15 years. Israel's southern cities have been less fortunate, although many rockets are intercepted by the Iron Dome anti-missile system.
Here are the latest in showbiz. Let's check it out.
The National Costume Show is one of the most anticipated activities of the Miss Universe pageant every year. Candidates showcase various costumes that depict their country's culture and even social issues that their country or the world is currently facing. As for Miss Universe Philippines Rabia Mateo, it was revealed that the late Rocky Gathercole designed her national costume for the show. Jewelry designer Manny Halasan was also tapped to create the crown headpiece that will complement Gathercole's creation. In an interview, Halasan shared that it was his dream to collaborate with Gathercole and that he felt goosebumps when he found out that he will be creating pieces for one of Gathercole's last designs. Meanwhile, Kennedy John T. Gasper from the Central Luzon State University College of Home Science and Industry in Muñoz was chosen to create the national costume for Miss Universe Cameroon Angelique Osinda, whose country will debut in the beauty pageant this year. On the other hand, Florida-based Filipino-American designer Kirsten Regalado was chosen to create the national costume for Miss Universe Mauritius Pandana Gita. In an Instagram post, Regalado said that Miss Mauritius' national costume is hand-painted by children from a special needs organization. The national costume show of the 69th Miss Universe pageant will air live tomorrow, May 14 at 8 a.m. Manila time.
And here are the latest from Manila Bulletin sports section. Let's watch this.
Jeff De Luna and Roberto Gomez came roaring back from a huge deficit to stun Billy Thorpe and Skylar Woodward of the United States on Wednesday, May 12 and reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup of Pool in Milton Keynes, England. The Filipino duo was on the verge of exiting the tournament after the Americans raced to a 5-0 lead, but De Luna and Gomez were able to make up for their early miscues by taking the successive racks on their way to claiming a spot in the last 8. De Luna and Gomez will take on Dennis Grabe and Mark Maggi of Estonia on Thursday, May 13 for a berth in the semifinals of the $250,000 or 11.9 million pesos tournament. De Luna and Gomez could have put the Philippines on the board in rack number 3, but they committed a scratch on the 8 ball which allowed the United States to extend its lead to 3-0. Another chance of scoring a rack win was wasted in the 5th when a poor preparation resulted in missing a tough angled shot on the 9 ball, handing the US a 5-0 advantage. The Philippines began its rally by taking 3 straight racks before stealing the next one after Thorpe's bank shot on the 7 ball rattled the corner pocket. It was one of the breaks De Luna and Gomez took in order to pull off an escape act and extend their run in the English town.
And those are the news on Web today, May 13, 2021. Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters here and around the world. For more news and details, get your copy of the Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow, or you can log on to www.mb.com.ph. You may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.